Well, here we are, folks. How's everybody doing? Nice early Sunday afternoon live stream. Considering that I was trying to do a live stream. I think it was what Friday, no Thursday night. I think it was that I originally said I was going to try to do a live stream, but I was too busy helping Nate and Jim do their little exhibition match. And by the time that was all over with, and I checked my work laptop, I had plenty of stuff that I still needed to do before I go on vacation, which actually starts today or yesterday, this weekend, or whatever, because all of next week I am going to be super busy with BCA State. I am scheduled to play in 10 ball, which starts tomorrow. 8 ball, which I don't remember when that starts. And then I'm also on a team, which starts next weekend. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to get anything published during this coming week. I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to maybe get some footage. I doubt I'm going to be able to get any footage of me playing. I would probably have to rely on some friends to capture maybe a match or two with their cell phones, primarily because I'm just not comfortable bringing my cameras into the venue when there's going to be probably hundreds of people walking around and stuff, and the possibility of my cameras getting knocked down or whatever. Just don't want to risk that. But at the very least, I might be able to take a couple of selfie videos or something. And like I said, if I can get some friends that might be there to watch me play, maybe record a match from an oddball angle or something, then maybe I can try to compile something together so y'all can see what the event looks like. So hoping to do well. I haven't been in competition like this in quite some time. Playing in my local leagues is good. Keeps me at least keeps me on my toes and stuff. But in a handicapped type league, which is what I play in, it's just not really the same than to do straight up competition. So as I've mentioned before, these are the types of things. These are the types of tournaments I like to enter in, so that way I can truly see like where I'm at in my game, where what areas I need to work on, and stuff, so that I can just continue to get better and better, just in hopes of being able to compete in events like this. So won't know until we try, and so we'll see how this coming week goes. But I have BCA League that I have to go to tonight around 6 o'clock. So I have at least a good 4.5 hours to try to still see if I can achieve my goal of scoring between 81 through 99. Playing the 9-ball ghost using Bank Time Pool's virtual 9-ball ghost format. So I don't really want to waste any time. I'll still take breaks in between each of the sets. So before I get started, though, let's just at least try to go down the list and see who do we have here so far. And we already see that we have Eric Pool Guy Simpson 29. You're wondering when I say is it over, I'm talking about the journey of playing the ghost in this format and stuff. And so that's why its title is it over. Like, am I going to be able to accomplish it? I came so close the last time. If I hadn't just not dogged that 8-ball, the goal would have been done, and we could potentially be doing something else, or just attempting to go for the 99, right? Because I did say that once I land anywhere between 81 through 99. And then after that, I'm just strictly going to be trying to go for 99s. After that, don't know if I'm going to live stream it. I might try it once or twice just to see how it's going to look, because there'll be a lot of resets over and over again, but we'll see. And I can see that my best friend Goat McBuffkins stopped by. I don't know if he's still in, but thanks for being here. Scooper JS at least stopped by to say good luck and whatnot, but he's not going to be able to make the live stream. And I see we have the lovely Martha Levine. Thanks for being here. I'm glad you finally get to catch a live stream. Todd Elston, thanks for being here. Lee Baldwin from Friday Night Lights Production, really good YouTube channel. Also does live streaming on his Facebook page. You get to see some really good exhibition mats and stuff. We've got the none other Jim from Bang Time Pool, Roopster 760, Tristan from South Africa, Jabru Journey, thanks for being here. Monique Greer, thanks for being here. Ricky Grancy, think this is the first time I've seen you here before, and you're coming from Minnesota. Thanks for being here, man. Now, how you doing? I hope you liked your little highlight reel that I gave you when you asked me about the Eureka moments, and I went ahead and turned that into a clip. Ken J16, thanks for being here. Persistent Wolf Billiards and Dana from the practice room. Sweet. So I already see Tristan has given me a pattern. So 4 other people, please give me a pattern. I don't know if I'll be able to go through all 5 sets. I mean, I will certainly try. Because I am going to do a hard cutoff around 5 o'clock, regardless of my progress. But I'm still going to keep the spirits of including everybody's patterns in this live stream. So if you would, give me numbers 1 through 9, put the 1 in the front, put the 9 in the middle, and then just shuffle the other numbers around. Dustin Wheeler, I see your pattern. Because I am only taking the first 5 that come in. Persistent Wolf Billiards, I see your pattern. Oh, what kind of pattern is that, Wolf? just in sequential order with the 9 ball in the middle. Too funny. 2 more patterns, please. Anybody, except for the same people that have already given up patterns. Christopher Dutchin, I see your pattern. And Ricky Grancy, I see your pattern. Except this might not be a valid pattern. You're missing a number. It looks like you're missing the 2 ball, so I will grant you that and just put the 2 ball in the back. But other than that, I think everything's fine. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, one more or a couple more shout outs actually, because I see my buddy Mr. Edit One. He is our professional video editor that we have here in the community. Just recently posted, I think, a trick shot video on his YouTube channel. I think it was 3 balls in 1, where he pockets 2 balls and sends the cue ball. I think it was 4 rails before he pockets the 3rd one. Really cool channel to see. He's going to be filming a web series here soon on his channel, so be sure to check that out. And we got my buddy Bryant from Corner 4 Billiards, who just recently published a video as well, talking about how you don't have to be a gunslinger when you play this game. In other words, you don't have to go for every single solitary shot, except for me, because I'm playing the Ghost. I have to go for every single solitary shot. But in a real match, you should really consider playing a defensive shot every once in a while. So be sure to check his channel out. And then I see we have A Funk. I think this is the first time I've seen you here. Thanks for stopping by. Matt Hall, Joe Mears, and Trash Panda Gaming. Thanks everybody for being here. But like I said, let's get this show on the road because I only have a very limited time. I will still take breaks in between each of the sets, but I do want to try to get through this all without feeling rushed. So we're going to start with the first pattern. This is going to be with Tristan's pattern. 154 398. And then I know the 2's in the back, 672. I think I should be able to memorize this. Okay, so real quickly, try to go through the rules of what it is that I'm trying to do, because I do see that I have a couple of new people in my live stream. So thank you so much for being here. I'm going to be trying to play through 9 racks of 9 ball. And this is using a scoring system that was developed by Bang Time Pool when he was hosting some virtual ghost tournaments during the heavy COVID time frames where like nothing was open and only people that had pool tables in their homes were able to do something. So the way this works is I will break Any balls that I make will count as a single point on the break. But after the break, I have the option of either taking ball in hand or not taking ball in hand. If I take ball in hand and I successfully run the table, I can score a maximum of 9 points. If I don't take ball in hand and I run the table, then I can score a maximum of 11. And then if I don't run the table, then whatever balls that I pocket are the points that I'm going to score. So if I only make 5 balls and then I miss, then I only score a 5 for that rack. There are other types of points that you can score in this. I'm just not really going to cover them because you're hardly ever going to see me do them. Meaning, like, you're hardly ever going to see me combo the 9-ball in, or you're hardly going to ever see me make the 9-ball on the break. But if those situations do come up, then I will talk about the scoring system for those scenarios. During the break, I also have to satisfy what's called the 3-point rule, and that is to either make 3 object balls or get 3 object balls to touch the head string from which I'm breaking from. It doesn't have to cross it, it just has to touch it, meaning that the base of the ball doesn't have to be on the head string because the edge of the ball can also be on the head string. So if I do a combination of either making 3 balls or getting 3 balls to touch the head string, or like I said, some mixture, in other words, I can make 1 ball fall and get 2 balls to touch the head string, that satisfies the 3-point rule. If I make 3 balls on the break, that satisfies the 3-point rule. If I don't make any balls on the break, but 3 balls come over and touch the head string, that satisfies the 3-point rule. If I don't satisfy the 3-point rule, then I get one more chance to break again. And if I don't satisfy it then the rack is a 0. So with that being said, let's see what I can do with the first set. So you can see I made a ball on the break, and it looks like the 1, 2, and the 3. Yeah, the one ball is touching the head string. Half the bottom of the ball hasn't crossed the head string, but the edge of the one ball is touching the head string, so that counts. So I basically got 3 points here, but I also have a point because I made a ball on the break. So essentially, I did 4 points on this one. Now we're just getting started, so I'm going to go ahead and take ball in hand. So all I can score is a possible 9 if I run the table. So the layout of the table looks really good. I don't really see any difficult transitions that I'm going to have to deal with. Just have to not get careless and do something stupid. Probably got to hit that just a little bit harder. Start the first set off on a good note. Start off with a 9, so can't complain about that. Hey, we got Nate from the Cue It Up podcast in the house. You're saying that Shane is struggling in the Masters. What's the score, and who's he playing against? 3-1. Okay, so the match just got started. So what was the race to? Was it a race to 7? I think. Oh, what happens when that 2-ball collides? More than likely, I do not satisfy the 3-point rule, so I have to break again. If the ball that's in the back of the rack ends up colliding with the ball that's in the 4th row, then chances are, because of the way I break, I'm more than likely not going to satisfy the 3-point rule. So on this next break here, I'm just going to break slightly harder to hopefully ensure that I don't that I at least satisfy the 3-point rule, but that also means that I probably will have to go for another 9. Yeah, so we're obviously good on the 3-point rule. I can't tell if I have a 1-3 combination or if the 5 ball is blocking me. The 5 ball is blocking me. So I got to take ball in hand again on this one. Do I want to take the combo? Not really, because that means the 1 ball is going this way. I can obviously try to set up for it, but I can just play the ball and then just try to get position on the 2, which is easier to do. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Hope I'm not straight in. I probably should have looked at that, and I am. I am straight in. I'm try to cheat the pocket a little bit and try to draw the ball back here. So that works. Okay, 2 9s in a row. Can't complain. I'll eventually try to throw in an 11. I've mentioned before the reason why I like to put 11s in the mix is because it gives me a buffer to where I can afford to make a mistake on a rack. I mean, generally I wouldn't want to make a mistake, obviously, right? But I have to account for that I'm not a perfect player. There might be a mistake here and there, but if I at least have a 11 somewhere in the set, then I can afford to take a 7 or an 8 and still be on pace. Okay, that's a good break. I made a ball, got the 2 and the 3 to cross over. Don't really have good position on the 1 ball, so I'm going to have to take ball in hand again. Ideally, And I'm trying to get the cue ball to land somewhere right around here because then I got perfect position to where I can score an 11. So cue ball control off the break right now is not really up to par, but we are just getting started. You can see the layout of the table looks beautiful. No real difficult transitions. Like I said, I just have to not get careless. Like that. Goodness gracious. Almost missed that. Overhit that just a touch. Okay, that's a good recovery. And you can see I needed to hit that one just a little bit harder. But we're okay. Can't complain. 3 9s in a row. We're off to a really good start. Okay, I made 2 balls on the break, so if I can get a third ball back here, and I don't. The 4 ball is just short. Just to make sure. Yep. So, man, sometimes that 3-point rule can be brutal. Pretty much can consider this my warm-up for tonight, though I am playing 8-ball tonight. It is for BCA 8-ball league. I use a bit of a different break for an 8-ball rack, especially a non-templated 8-ball rack. Right, got to make sure we satisfy the 3-point rule. We don't want to take a 0. But the layouts change whenever I break that hard. Like, I've already showed everybody that there's a particular way that you can actually break to where you get a consistent spread throughout the set. And so you're almost playing the same transitions. The only thing that makes the transitions different is the pattern at which you rack the balls. Oh, I hit that a little on the soft side, but we should be okay. I can still cut the ball in. Slow your roll, slow down. Okay. Whew. Consistency, right? It's all about consistency. Martha, I am in Texas, and it's fixing to be 1 o'clock. Like I said, I'm pretty much going to stream for probably about at least maybe up to 4 more hours. I am going to do like a hard cutoff around 5 o'clock, 5:30ish, or whatever, so that way I can have some time to get some dinner and stuff before BCA League. But, I said I was going to go live on Thursday. I had to cancel due to work. And then I said I was probably going to try to get a live stream in this weekend. Couldn't really do anything yesterday because I was just too busy cleaning the house, doing some other normal weekend errands. And so since I have BCA League tonight, it was either go live now or go live afterwards. And since I have to wake up tomorrow morning to prepare for state, I figured it's best if I go live now. Don't get in the game 3 ball. Because this was the break. This was the break I was looking for. Just needed the 3 ball to not get in the way. So 6 to the 7 now is going to be a little interesting now that the 7 ball's over here. But we'll still take ball in hand. Ooh, not sure how I feel about this one. Oh gosh, I made a really bad decision there. Yeah, that was a really bad decision. All right, so I need to recover. Ugh. Should have known better. The whole idea is I should have zigzagged instead of trying to come straight there. Or just go 3 rails and come out for the 4. Okay, good recovery, except for the 6 ball. What do I do here? Man, if I want to just make that 6 ball by itself, this is where I'm actually going to get the magic rack out of the way. Normally I would just leave it. I either got to set up for a bank or I have an extremely small window that I have to land in. Crap. Crap, crap, crap. I can't just make the ball because then I end up doing something like this. I'd have to do like a one pocket cross bank shot and avoid a double kiss. So almost just about anything I do here is super risky. Like running into the 9 ball would probably be the best thing for me, because then at least from this angle here, I might be able to cut the ball in and then spin the cue ball around to play the 7 ball in the same pocket. At least that's what I'm thinking. But trying to run into the 9 ball could very easily miss and then scratch. So let's see here. What am I going to do? Just scratch either way. If I'd have caught the point, then I think I would have been okay. So that is a 6. So that puts us behind pace. That unfortunately puts us behind pace. Let's see here. And this is what I was talking about. You know, ideally, if I could just perform perfectly, then I probably would be a pro. But I'm not. Got to account for mistakes every now and again. So I think I got to squeeze in at least 2 11s. Ain't going to happen like that. That's for sure. All right, this works. I just don't like where the cue ball ended up for the opening shot. Shoot. Because I don't know if I can get around the 6, let alone get around the 9. I guess we'll try. Okay, there's around the 6. There's around the 9. Decent position on the 2. So we might be able to get an 11 here. This will help. Slow down. That's not the greatest of positions. Stop. Oh, whew. We got our first 11. All right, so I think that puts me. That puts me 1 point behind normal pace, meaning that if I were to score nothing but 9s from here, I think I end up with an 80. Be a new personal best, right? Because I think on my last stream I scored a 78. Whew. Okay, at least made 2 balls. Ooh, I got a shot at the 1 ball too. Oh, hello. Windows notification. What do I do? What do I do? I'm 1 point behind. I can at least. I guess I got to go for it since I'm 1 point behind. Slow your roll, cue ball. Come on. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. Last time I did a shot like that, I still ended up scratching in the corner. Oh, I wonder if y'all heard my neck pop when I did that. This is dangerous. Dangerous. Oh, I tried to cheat the pocket on that. 2, 4, 5. That's a 4. That's going to hurt also. 79. All right. Well, I got a 78 on the last PB. I really wanted to allow the cue ball to float forward because with just a stop shot like that, I'd end up having to back cut the 5 ball. And I didn't want to have to back cut the 5 ball, but in the case of what I had there, if I would have let the cue ball drift forward, then I'm risking scratching in the side pocket. So I tried to just play an immediate stop shot like you saw there and ended up rattling the ball. But I got to get 2 11s now, I think, right? Yeah, 2 11s to at least score another PB, another personal best. So let's see if we can do it. But I think I can say this is probably the best first set that I've ever had in any of my live streams. Normally, like my first sets are just filled with mistakes as I start to warm up. Don't think that's going to cut it. Yeah, the 1 ball made it, but the 4 ball didn't. Because if I take a 9 here, then the best I can get is a 77. I have to go for 11s here to possibly get a New PB. Okay, at least made 2 balls on the break. I have a shot at the 1 ball, and I have to go for it, and jacked up over the 4 ball. The 3 ball is there, so this sucks. Cue ball has to go up and down table just for me to get position on the 3. So this is going to be hard. At least I still have a shot. Can't complain. And that'll do it. Probably just needed to hit that one a little bit harder. 3, 6, so that's a 3. And the best I can do is a 71. Sorry, Tristan. I came close. I came really close. It all came down to that first rack, or was it rack 5, that pretty much knocked the wind out of me, we can say. But pretty darn good. Pretty darn good for a first set, I would say. Pretty darn good. All right. So, what am I coming back to? Dustin Wheeler, your rack pattern is going to be next. Let's see here. Lots of conversations here. What are we doing? Hey, we got Jaworski pool practice in here. How's it going, man? Oh, cool. Queue It Up podcast, Bang Time Pool was trying to get a hold of you, so I'm glad you guys are finally in communications. So that's awesome. I think that pretty much catches me up with what I'm seeing. A couple of new people I see in here, so thanks for being here. I did see someone ask like how the scoring system works. Don't know if that was answered or not. David Barno, you're asking me to explain my break. So if you're new to my channel, check out one of my latest videos. It's not like the absolute newest one, but it's called Master Breaking the 9-ball rack. I've now played so much 9-ball Ghost that, in my opinion, I have the 9-ball rack fairly solved when it comes to using a template rack, meaning that I have a tight, consistent rack. And what I mean by fairly solved is on a consistent basis, I can pretty much reproduce almost the same exact layout on the break, meaning that I know where all 9 balls are going to go on the break. And that's including pocketing the wing ball from there. And so that deals with having to hit the rack a certain way, hit the cue ball a certain way with a certain amount of power. And the hardest part on doing that is the consistency. Like when I at least use a template rack, the rack is no longer a variable. In the break, because when you're not using a template rack, there could be gaps between the head ball and the second row, or there could be gaps between the third row and the fourth row, and those gaps do alter the layout. It makes the rack harder to become consistent on the break, and that's usually why you end up seeing people just break with power when they're breaking like that. But in a home environment like this, when I'm practicing and whatnot, since I've eliminated the rack being the variable, the only variables that I have to control is how I hit the cue ball, where I hit the rack, and how much power I put into it. So 3 variables that are in my control, that if I can control those perfectly, then I'm going to see a very consistent spread to where now after that it's all up it's all up to just my shooting ability to be able to consistently run out the rack with or without ball in hand. Now, the only exception is because I'm trying to make sure that I satisfy the 3-point rule. So usually, if I don't satisfy the 3-point rule on the first break, then I try to break with just a little bit more power, which means I'm going to get a different result than what I'm used to. But more times than not, I am trying to use a very consistent break, a very consistent style of breaking, and I explain that in detail in my Master Breaking the 9-Ball Rack. So I would suggest that you check out that video. Jabru Journey. I think the only thing you have to realize when in adjusting to a Revo is whether or not if you're a front hand English user or a backhand English user. If you're a front hand English user, then you just won't expect to see as much cue ball deflection or cue ball squirt when you strike the cue ball with some amount of side spin. If you're a backhand English user like I am, because that's pretty much what I do all the time now. I'm more of a like 10% front hand English user and 90% backhand English user, or sometimes it's like 5% to 95%. It really just depends on the actual shot and how much side spin I plan on putting on the cue ball. But if you're primarily a backhand English user like I am, then you don't really have to account for anything. It's just that when you start hitting the balls more accurately, you're going to see that the cue ball is going to have more momentum on it than you're probably used to. Oh, that's the notification I'm getting. I'm not, for some reason, my laptop's not charging. That's not good. There we go. That would have sucked if the stream just all of a sudden died. That was the Windows notification that I was getting, was that the battery on my laptop is running low. It's because the charging adapter wasn't plugged all the way into the computer. But we should be fine now. No big deal. Vincent the Kid, I guess you've never heard of front hand or backhand English. So simply put, front hand English is where you move your bridge hand to put side spin on the ball. You know, typically when you place your bridge hand down onto the table, it's smack dab behind the middle of the cue ball, right? So that way you can apply a center cue ball hit, or you might apply top spin or bottom spin by raising or lowering your bridge hand. But if you're going to apply front hand English, you're going to have your bridge hand off to one side of the cue ball, you know, to the left if you're going to put left spin, to the right if you're going to put right spin. That's front hand English. Backhand English is where you always place your bridge hand directly behind the cue ball. And then you end up moving your grip hand, the backhand, hence the term backhand English. You either bring your grip hand closer to your body. If you're a right-handed player, that's going to cause your tip to pivot off to the right, which means you're going to apply some amount of right spin. If you move your grip hand away from your body, that's going to pivot your cue towards the left for you to apply some amount of left spin. So you'll do a combination of raising or lowering your bridge hand to apply top and bottom spin, and either moving your grip hand away from you or closer to you to apply the side spin. That's the difference between front hand and backhand English. And I explained that in one of my older videos, applying side spins to the cue ball. And when you use backhand English, you really don't have to compensate for cue ball deflection or cue ball squirt. You're still able to deliver the cue ball rather straight. Towards the end of that video, I did make a statement where I would say that you should, if you're just learning, you probably should learn backhand English first and then gravitate towards fronthand English. I have to retract that statement because I'm primarily a backhand English shooter now. If I'm going to apply any type of side spin on the cue ball, it's mostly done with backhand English. It's just allowed me to be more accurate in my shooting, and I have more control. So, and it's easier to execute. So, like, why make things more difficult than they need to be? A-Funk, yes. Using less English will allow you to be more accurate because, again, if you're using a lot of English, then you have to try to account for the cue ball deflection, cue ball squirt once the tip of your cue strikes the cue ball. Right, and if you practice enough, you'll eventually learn how to compensate. for it. But the less spin you try to put on the cue ball, then the less you have to compensate. So therefore, it will be easier for you to actually be able to shoot. Oh, cool, Martha! You're making the 8 ball on the break using the technique that I taught in my video. That's awesome. Gavin O'Toole, you're asking if there's any advice in buying your first professional cue. I think just the idea that you're saying professional cue becomes very, very subjective. Because what's a professional cue? $100 cue, a $200 cue, a $500 cue, a $1,000 cue. Like, what is a professional cue, right? Go check out my I think it's Pool Talk episode 6 video for choosing your first cue. And I kind of mentioned some of the points that you're talking about. Like you want something that lasts a long time and it looks nice. The looks nice part is at least one of the things that I go over. Because as far as something lasting a long time, that's entirely up to you, right? Because you have to be able to take care of your stuff. I mean, the better you take care of your stuff, the longer it's going to last. But when it comes to choosing equipment, I don't really like to recommend anything, because anything I recommend, I'm going to recommend based on my liking. And the idea that you're going to like what I like, though it may be high, but there's also a possibility that I can recommend something to you and you go and try it out and you find out that it's garbage. You just don't like it. So the best advice I can always give you is try what you want, and that's what you'll see in that video that I'm talking about. I think that pretty much catches me up. Cool. That does catch me up. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next set. This is going to be with Dustin Wheeler's pattern. The 2 ball is going to be in an interesting spot. So this is with 1, 4, 2. So the 1 and the 2 are going to be at opposite ends of the table. 7, 9, 5. Three, 6, 8. Okay, so someone asked for me to explain the break, so I'll just run through it real quick on this first break, and hopefully I produce the result that I'm about to explain. But in order for me to be able to score more 11s in a set, I have to be able to control that 1 ball. The 1 ball is really the only ball I don't want to make on the break. So, because I can make it in the side pocket more times than not based on the way I hit the cue ball and based on the way I hit the rack. But generally speaking, what I'm hoping to happen is to have the 1 ball track past the side pocket, catch the side rail, and land over here. And I get my cue ball to land in the center of the table so that way I can shoot the 1 ball over here. The second ball here, which is the 2 ball, is just going to come over to the side rail and hopefully hang out over here, but it might get hit by the 8 ball and get sent down here. That's a possibility. The 4 ball is going to bank off the side rail and head towards this side pocket. Sometimes it may or may not fall depending upon the power that I put in. I break on my left side of the table, so the left wing ball has a 99% chance of falling into the corner pocket. The 9 ball won't go anywhere unless a ball comes and kicks it out of the rack. The 7 ball is going to go 3 rails around, and it may collide with the 6 ball. And if it collides with the 6 ball, it's going to catch this rail and then head towards this corner pocket. If it doesn't collide with the 6 ball, then chances are it'll head over towards the side pocket. Because in the 6 and the 3, they generally should go up to the short rails and then come back out. But like I said, if the 7 collides with the 6, that's going to cause the 6 to hit the rail and then come over here and possibly tie up with the 3 ball, or both the 3 and the 6 will have a path to this corner pocket. And then the 8 ball will bank off this short rail and head over here unless it runs into the 6 ball, which is usually what prevents me from satisfying the 3-point rule, or it might clip into the 2 ball and send the 2 ball down here, or sometimes both of them might make it down here. But more times than not, I'm usually expecting for the 1 ball, the right wing ball, and the ball that's in the back of the rack to be the 3 balls that are down here to satisfy the 3-point rule, on top of making the 5 ball into the corner pocket. And then with the cue ball, I'm hitting slightly above center, very slightly above center. And then I'm trying to hit just slightly to the right of center between the cue ball and the 1 ball. And see, the ball collided. Here's the 4 ball coming over here. And the 1 ball is pretty much where it's at. But like I said, the 8 ball collided with the ball that was in the 4th row, so I pretty much don't satisfy the 3-point rule. And I've narrowed that down to like what causes the ball that's in the back of the rack to collide with the ball that's in the 4th row. It's where I hit the 1 ball. So I have to try to adjust my aim a little bit to get a different result. 368. I remember that. So we're going to adjust our aim a little bit and see if we can get the 8 ball to miss the 6 ball. And this is what I meant by like a lot of the onus is on me. There's 3 different variables that I have to control since I am eliminating the rack being a variable. See? 8 ball misses it, and here they are. There's the 4 ball, there's the 3 and the 6. Like I said, everything pretty much went exactly where I knew it was going to go. When I controlled the 3 variables that I'm in control of. And this gives me the ability to go for an 11. Now, can I do this all the time? No, because I'm human. I'm not a robot. Eventually, fatigue starts to settle in. Adrenaline might start to settle in if I actually start putting together, a good score for the set. It all just really depends. Let's see here. You know what? Might end up rolling over the magic rack. And if the cue ball path gets altered, everybody's going to be screaming in the chat, "Oh, the magic rack helped you out." Don't like this shot. Don't like it at all. Woo! I have to try to finesse my way around that 6 ball just to get to this 4. Now this run out is becoming harder than it needs to be. Don't touch the 7. There we go. Okay, now we're back in line. Should be some hopefully easy transitions from here, or easier. Come on, get up here. Okay, first set we start with the 9. Second set we start with an 11. So good to know. So now, can I reproduce that break? That pattern that I had after the break? And I think the only thing I want to do different is it was the transition from I think it was from the 3 to the 4. I don't want to do that same transition. I'd like to have a better transition than that, if I can. 795. 368. So one of the biggest reasons why I like having viewers choose the rack patterns for me is because I have my own particular rack pattern that I like to use. It's not an easy one, but it's the one that I'm most familiar with because I'm doing very similar transitions over and over again. So when I at least get like some sort of pseudo random pattern that I get from the viewers, I get to see a different layout. I mean, the balls are going to be pretty much where they're always going to be, but the transition paths that I have to take to go from one ball to the next are going to be different. So it allows me to get better familiar with moving the cue ball around under different circumstances. But you see what I mean? Since the 7 ball didn't hit the 6 ball, it almost went towards the side pocket. And it looks like the 8 ball, I think it clipped the 2 ball. So that changed things a little bit. But we at least still satisfy the 3-point rule. We have a shot at the 1 ball. Oh, but I don't like the 2. Not sure what to do here. Still go for an 11 though. I think that's a staple. Slow down. I'm okay with this angle here. Send the cue ball 2 rails, hopefully for the 4 on the side. Okay, hit that a little too hard. This makes playing for the 6 in the corner a little bit more difficult. Don't know if I want to set up for the 6 in the side because of where the 7 is at, but that still might be the most ideal thing to do. I can go around the 9 and 6 and maybe play the 6 in the corner. I think that's probably the better shot. Come around. But I didn't hit it hard enough. I mean, I have a shot, but just not an ideal shot. Okay, good recovery. Oh, whew, okay. Playing with fire on that one. Okay. Nice 4-point buffer here. Starting off with 2 11s. Can't complain about that. I keep forgetting what the first few patterns are. I think I know at least that the bottom is 3 6 8 7 9 5. 5 balls the ball that's supposed to go. Now keep in mind, like this spread pattern that you're seeing me do, this does not work like in a league or tournament like environment because you're not using a template rack. So you have to remember that. If you catch me playing in a league or a tournament or something that's not using a template rack, I'm going to break differently. I'm probably going to break with a little bit more power. I'm still going to be looking for very similar results. More times than not, I'm probably going to try to get the 1 ball to drop because the head ball is the most controllable ball. But if you're not using a template rack, don't try this at home. Hey, there's that collision. So that doesn't satisfy the 3-point rule. No, more probably, I didn't hit the ball the way that I should. I didn't hit the one ball the way that I should. Like the contact point between the one ball and the cue ball. Okay, that was just to make sure that we satisfy the 3-point rule. Don't like the 4 ball. I might be able to go for an 11. No, I'm not. Never mind. I mean, I still could. It's just difficult. I've got 2 11s right now, so I should try to hold on to them. The 3 to the 4 to the 6, that's going to be fun. So I got to make sure that I look at this correctly. And how do I want to play this? Like, I almost feel like I want to bump into the 8 ball just to make the 4 ball more accessible. Like, if I can hit the 8 hits the 4, and they kind of just split apart. The 4 ball becomes a whole lot more accessible if I do that. But then I sacrifice making my 2 ball shot a little bit more difficult because I'm further away from it. But I think this is probably the best choice. I'm going to try to bump into that 8 ball. All right, so it makes the 4 ball a little bit more accessible. Got to get good position on the 3 ball now. That's not really good position. It's position, but it's not good position. Okay, lovely. I'm slightly bridged over the 9 ball. I think my bridge hand is going to be on top of the magic rack, which is why I am going to move it. I'm drawing at an angle, so I might clip into the 8 ball if I do that. So maybe following is a better option. Come on, hit it. There we go. I'll call that a little bit of luck. I don't think really everything went exactly the way I thought it was going to go. I actually probably would have liked to hit it on the way there and not on the way out. This makes the shot just a little bit more difficult. Just take what I can get there. Oh, I hit that way too hard. Might not have sounded like it, but gee whiz. Almost a dead bank, almost. Oh, and I barely missed it. But that's okay. That's what the 11s are for. One of the 11s counters this rack and still puts me like 3 points ahead. I just barely missed that bank too. I think I've had a couple of questions before, like why bother trying to break like this when in normal environments you're not going to be able to produce results like this? Well, I mean, that's a huge, it depends, right? You know, if you're not using a template rack, what kind of rack is your opponent giving you, or what kind of racks are you giving yourselves? It's best to at least know how the rack is supposed to behave under the right conditions. And so that way you know that if you're not getting anywhere close to the right conditions, then chances are you're giving yourself a bad rack or your opponent is giving you a bad rack. And more times than not, it's going to be accidental. You would hopefully think that people aren't purposely giving you bad racks, but it's good to know like how the rack is actually supposed to behave. There's that collision. Will the 7-ball drop though? There we go. Do I want to go for this? This is usually where my ego gets in the way. Yeah, I'm going for it. Sometimes you just got to have fun. Sometimes you just got to have fun. Ugh. That was a dangerous shot. And I do not like drawing with the bridge. I'll take it though. Whatever. The question becomes, do I just shoot this in and take this shot? Or do I try to come all the way around, get underneath the 9-ball? I think I'm just going to take my medicine on this one. Now, getting on the 8-ball is going to be fun. Do I want to get underneath it or do I want to stay above it? Getting underneath it is really not that bad, coming around this way and getting underneath it. But trying to stay above it, that's fun. That's a lot of inside spin to try to stay above it. But this is the danger of staying in front of it. Now I got to figure out what to do with the cue ball. Because since I'm a slight back cut, I don't want to power stun this over here. I mean, this is probably another one where I have to take my medicine on it and take a cut shot that looks like this, when I would really want to try to get as close to the 9-ball as I can. I could try to push the cue ball up and come back down, but that's also risky. Yeah, I think I'm just going to take my medicine and just hold it. Decisions, 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 right? Because that's what makes you being able to win the rack appropriately. Making decisions, making good decisions. Make good decisions, and then more than likely you'll yield positive results. Whew. But this is also a show, right? Every now and again, I got to make risky decisions, make it look good for everybody and for myself. Can't always just play it safe. Sometimes you got to play aggressive. Sometimes. There's pretty much the perfect break. Y'all see this? Y'all have seen this layout before. I can go for an 11 on this one, since the 7 ball is sitting right in the pocket. Yep. And I was planning on it falling, so I tried to get a little close to the 2 ball. This is a little bit harder than it needs to be. Ooh, am I going to touch that 6 ball? I think if I touch the 6 ball, I scratch. If I draw, I'm running into the 9 ball. On the back side of it, no less. Ooh. Let's get this guy out of the way. There we go. We avoid touching it. So we're good to go there. That stinks. I think I have to come all the way around the 6 ball now. I'm not going to try to hold this with inside spin. Pretty much do the same thing, come around. A little straight in, huh? So I'm going to cheat the pocket this way. And I hit it too hard. Actually, in this case, I didn't hit it hard enough now that I'm coming on the other side. I think I overcut it. I did. Oh, I overcut the ball. Well, that's okay. Would have been nice to have a 4th 11. But another 8 is fine. The position I got on the 8 ball. That was the pits. I probably, when you make a mistake and you think to yourself, like, what should you have done differently? I probably should have tried to just draw the ball instead of going around like I did. Going forward like I did allowed me to cheat the pocket and create the route that I did there, but drawing it would have been a completely different result. But who knows, right? Oh, bad collision. 1 ball didn't even make it down here. 2 ball did at least, though. But 3, 6, yeah, that doesn't count. Doesn't count. So do me a favor, everybody, if you're at least enjoying seeing how I'm shooting, and I'm trying to do some amount of commentating so y'all can understand what I'm thinking and why I'm playing the way I'm playing. If you like all this stuff, give me a thumbs up on this live stream. This is not as easy as I'm making it look. Okay, make sure we satisfy the 3-point rule of this one. Do not tie up with the 3 ball. Ah, that's why I don't like breaking like that. I just can't really control the outcome of the balls, especially if they clutter back up. So I'm probably going to have to try to get some sort of an angle where I can break this out, or get this type of position here to play the 3 in the side. One or the other. Yuck. Yuck, 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 yuck. This is where things start to like snowball from here. All right, let's see what we can do, huh? There's that. I want to get over here. See what I mean? Crap. 3, 6, 7. That's only a 2. That hurts. 84. Possible 84. That really hurts. But this is what it's like when you get closer and closer to achieving the goal that you're looking for. Every mistake is huge. And I start getting to the points where it's like, well, you just have to play flawlessly. Yeah, like I can just flip on a switch and there you go. How many racks do I got left? 3? Two balls on the break, so that's good. Get down here, 1 ball. Okay. 3 balls on the break. And you'll notice that the ball that fell here was the ball that was in the second row. So like I said, it banks off the cross side and heads over here. Oh, did I hit that a little too hard? I think I did. This is not good. Anytime I have to muscle the cue ball like that, that's not really a good thing. Not something that you really want to do. That was close. There we go. For me, anytime that I have to hit the cue ball hard and muscle it around, that's when I'm at the most risk of making a mistake, at least for me. I don't know what it's like for everybody else. I'm a very finesse player, so I try to always hit the cue ball smoothly, but common sense tells me that every now and again I have to move the cue ball, especially if I get out of line like what I did there. Sorry for all the sniffles. Allergies are just the pits. There we go. There's the perfect break. Don't. Okay, well, that's okay. I can deal with that. I can deal with the 3-6 combination. It'd be different if the 6 and the 3 were reversed. Except the 8 ball. I don't know if I can avoid hitting the 8 ball if I go for an 11. I got 2 racks left. If I take a 9 now, that means I can get a possible 82 with the next rack having to be an 11. So I would very much like to make this rack be an 11 if I can. But my problem is that 8 ball. Okay, I avoided it. So now if I can make sure that I can get this 3-6 combination. Oh, I don't like this. I really don't. Okay, I just have to make sure that the 3 ball comes out into the open. Kind of like that. That's why it's important that when you're going to do combinations, you know where the first ball that you're playing the combo with is going to go. You can't just willy-nilly just play the combo. Okay, come up. Higher. Gee whiz. Oh my gosh, did I baby that one? This is where this is where the pressure starts to get to any player, including myself. Oh my gosh. Last time I overcut the ball. Come on, this is huge. This is a huge shot. Overcut it again. Oh, that's what happens when you let negative thoughts cloud your mind. I think this puts me on pace for an 81 though, doesn't it? It does. Holy cow. This last rack has to be an 11. The last rack has to be an 11. I would rather it be the other way around, to where like this last rack could be a 9. Woo, the suspense. The suspense. And oh, never mind. I'm not going to say anything. We'll talk about it afterwards. Let's just see what happens. I'm not going to say anything. I got to get that perfect break. Got to get the perfect break. Got to get the perfect break. Positive thoughts. Positive thoughts. Positive thoughts. Get a third ball to fall. 2 balls good. Okay. Oh, man, I'm not sure how I feel about this. Oh. Okay. Can make the 8 ball. Let's go ahead and get this out of the way. That way there's no excuse. Can make the 8 ball, I think. Pretty sure I can make the 8 ball. 3 to the 4 is going to be fun. All right, that was a given. That's a given of what was going to happen. All right, 3 to the 4 is going to be fun. I do not want to be straight in on the 3 ball. Okay, I'm not straight in like I wanted. Get underneath it for the side pocket. Okay, this is important. Pretty straight in, so I pretty much just have to play a stop shot. Wish I was straighter. Yes! Sorry if I blew everybody's ears out. That's it! 81! We got it! We finally got it! We finally freaking got it! Oh my gosh! Please tell me I didn't screw up the scoreboard anywhere. That's gonna break my heart if I did, because I've done that before too. Please tell me I did not screw up the scoreboard anywhere. The scoreboard is correct. Yes? Please tell me the scoreboard is correct. Tell me that the scoreboard is correct. Oh my gosh, I finally did it. Whew. Everybody's saying bravo, so that's got to be it. That's got to be it. But man, oh my gosh, can you imagine if I would have just not screwed up rack 6? You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. I'd be in the 85 plus or something had I not screwed up rack 6, right? Every time I got so close, it was one freaking rack that made all the difference. Oh my gosh. Whew. I wish I had like a heart monitor attached to me so y'all can like see, like, it's very common when you're under any conditional situation where like it's for the win. It's like it's for something magical. It's to finally achieve something, and you would think like the nerves and you start to shake and everything else. And granted, I wasn't shaking, but my heart was just like racing, and especially when I messed up between the 7 and the 9 to have that cut shot on the 9 ball the way that I did. I mean, holy cow. And then the moment I hit it, it was one of those, like, the moment you hit it, like, you did it, you made it, and bam, there you go. Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished. So now, from here on out, it's nothing but 99s. And like I said, I'm gonna try to maybe live stream it every once in a while. If anything, I'm going to probably do more recordings of it. But we'll see how everybody feels when they're watching me try to go for 11s after 11s after 11s after 11s. If I obviously don't have a shot at the one ball, I have to bank it or kick it or or do whatever. But holy cow! I am unfortunately going to end this stream, but because I can't do another set until I calm down. But I'd rather just take this moment, talk to everybody, get settled down, and then get prepared for BCA League tonight. Whew, because it's done. It's done. It's finally over. It's finally over. I can probably actually clip this as well and have it be its own separate video. And that way I can do my own commentary, like actual like shot to shot commentary. I'll put up a cue ball diagram to show where I'm hitting on the cue ball in every single solitary shot, et cetera, et cetera. So but this will be something that I probably have to do like after BCA State because all my focus is going to be on BCA State. Oh my goodness, like KQ. You should try all 11s by soft breaking just to see what happens. If I do that route, then I have to throw the 3-point rule out. I'm fairly confident that my chances are better at doing a 99 with soft breaking as long as I don't use the 3-point rule. I can expect a little bit of a different pattern break, but none of the balls would be past the side pockets. Right. And I mean, let's be honest with each other. Like soft breaking is shunned upon, right? After Corey Deuel mastered the break and show how you can set up for like, 2-9 combinations or 3-9 combinations with a particular type of pattern rack, it's just shunned upon. So I do like having the 3-point rule in place to completely eliminate that. But if I were to throw out the 3-point rule, I don't ever have to worry about if I don't satisfy it, right? I would still pretty much break the same exact way that you saw me break now. But if I don't satisfy the 3-point rule, I mean, so what, right? I can still possibly go for an 11 by not taking ball in hand or, taking ball in hand or whatever kind of thing. But the biggest difference between the two would have to be eliminating the 3-point rule if I'm not going to break as hard as I was on like I was during this set here. Oh my god. Wait. Tally of Cali nightlife and dad life. Why is the first round on me? Someone should be buying me drinks. I shouldn't have to pay for the first round. Come on. Yes, I do agree with you, KQ, that it is an interesting experiment to see like what kind of scores I can possibly do by just doing by just throwing out the 3-point rule. Like I said, I would still break pretty much the same way to create those spreads that I'm trying to create, and then still make sure that I'm trying to be able to not take ball in hand. So more times than not, what I would end up doing though is not get the one ball to pass the side pocket, but be set up for the side pocket. That would be the biggest difference between the two, because with the breaks that you see that I'm doing here, I'm always trying to set the one ball up for the corner pocket. If I break a little bit softer, then I end up setting it up for the side pocket. That would be the ultimate difference between the two. And then with a breaking style like that, there'd be no way I would be able to satisfy the 3-point rule. No way, as far as I'm concerned. All right, so I'm going to scroll up through all the congratulations. Thanks, everybody, for being here. I'm glad that I finally was able to accomplish it. This has been great and wonderful. Let me see what everybody was talking about prior to that. I see everybody's asking like, what was my previous record, which was a 78. So if I don't get the 81 through 99, clearly I can go for a 79 or 80. Getting an 80 would just suck. Like just being 1 point away from the actual goal. Let's see here. It looks like everybody's just like getting exciting watching me do that last set. I don't really see any questions. Looks like someone's maybe asking about rail. Well, if there's any questions, I mean, start asking them, because I can't continue to just scroll up and miss all the new chats that are coming in. Oh my gosh. Like if anybody saw the last stream that I did where um I think it was for an 82. Like I would have gotten an 82, and I was trying to cut the 8 ball into the bottom left corner pocket, and I caught the jaw, and it bobbles, and it stays up, right? And I had perfect position on the 9 ball, and because of that miss, it made me fall completely short of the goal. Had I made the 8 ball, then the goal would have been accomplished. When did I last go live? It was like on Monday, I think, of this week or something. It was this past Monday. I don't even remember when I last live streamed, but the goal would have been over then had I not messed up that 8 ball the way that I did. And so when I'm shooting the 7 to the 9, like that's already plaguing my mind. That's why I said before I even broke the last rack, I'm not even going to say anything. Like I don't want any negative thoughts creeping into my head because like I've been here before and I've screwed it up like on the next to last ball or whatever. And there it was. I almost screwed it up from the 7 to the 9. I had that thin cut shot. Well, like a probably a half ball hit to a quarter ball hit on the 9 ball to where it's like, man, everything can go wrong here. But it didn't. It didn't. It finally happened. It finally freaking happened. It finally freaking happened. So, what can y'all expect from here? Does that mean I stop live streaming? Of course not. I think what I'm going to try to start doing with some of my live streams is I'm going to structure it a little bit more. Like when I know that I'm going to stream for like 3 or 4 hours or possibly 5 hours. Usually my Bluetooth will last about 5 hours. Before it dies. So what I think I'm going to start doing when I know that I'm going to do a live stream, there'll be like segments of like hour segments of when I try to do things. So for example, I can probably leave like an hour segment where I try to where I just go for 99s, right? So that way y'all can see that I get a chance to go for 99s. And then on another segment, maybe play the 10 ball. Another hour segment, maybe play the 10 ball ghost in a race to 5 or do a point system or whatever. I can try to do some straight pool high runs. My highest run I think is 51 that I did on my on the Dr. Dave Run Your Age birthday challenge. So I can try to do higher runs to beat that and try to top my personal best. There's Dr. Dave's RDS challenge that I still need to create a video on just to say that I did it, and even his pool placement challenge. Like that's pretty much what I'm talking about. Where now I can start mingling in other things other than just playing 9 ball. But I can still include 9 ball, so that way it really just becomes like a structured show. So what the way that would probably work is like during the first hour, I try whatever it is I'm going to try, take a small break, talk to everybody just like how I do now, and then go into the next segment of the show, which would be 10 ball, straight pool, whatever. If I happen to have a buddy come over, we can put on an exhibition match during one of the segments, et cetera, et cetera. Who knows? Who knows? But we can definitely start seeing some mix-ups here during the live streams. That's how my live streams originally started. Like if you go back and look at some of my previous live streams, they're done exactly that way, where I was doing like 10 ball ghost play. I did some straight pool stuff, and then some people asked me to show different things, so I was kind of doing like live lessons. Though I don't really want to do live lessons because I only have the one particular camera angle. So if I'm going to do a lesson, I want to make sure that I can move my cameras around appropriately and give you like good angles to look at if I was actually going to try to do a live lesson. But typically for something like this, I'd rather just give you something to watch while I'm shooting. I think to me, I just think that would be better. But every now and again, I can obviously try something. I can try something different. Tristan, you want me to try to do a 147, huh? Because I still need to figure out when I'm gonna break these bad boys out. I mean, I had them out when I did the 36 ball rack, right? Tristan wants to see me use these. Wants to see me use the snooker set that I got. This is an Aramith snooker set, so he wants to see me do a 147. And I've only played snooker like once or twice, so like the idea of me doing a 147, yeah, that's like seriously slim to none. Because I don't know the strategies. I mean, I know it's very, very similar to playing straight pool because you have to break out the reds, but to be able to do red, black, red, black, red, black, red, black, and then finally transition and do all the different colors, like that would take some serious practice, like serious practice. Billiard skill 5, Mike Morrow. How about a game of horse shots like basketball does? I'd have to get a buddy to do that. We could do it virtually. I mean, I'm pretty sure anybody in the Discord community would want to be able to do something like that. But stuff like that is already happening. I know I've seen Mr. Edit One and Backyard Billiards. They've done something very similar where they'll just post like a quick short video and say like, here's your shot, and then the other person would respond whether or not if they make it or not. But at least in a live environment, you have to be able to execute like on demand. Like that's how horse really works, right? If in basketball, if you shoot a particular shot, the next player has to do it right then and there. They only get that one opportunity to repeat the shot. So doing a horse-like game in pool live would be the same thing. Somebody does a shot, you set it up. The next person tries to set it up relatively close. Like it doesn't have to be exactly the same thing. And if they don't execute the shot, then they get their letter. That's obviously an idea that can happen. So there's just no telling what I can do with the show from here on out. I just did mention that, but I wanted to do this before I finally started to change and start including some other stuff. So I'm glad the journey is finally over. Hence is it over in the title. I'm glad that it finally happened. I'm glad that I did it on a live stream because I have tried this on recorded attempts also, and I was failing on recorded attempts because it was a matter of which one comes first. Do I achieve it on a recorded session, which means I'm just going to post it, or do I achieve it on a live session? And I'm actually glad that I achieved it on a live session. What is the absolute best aiming method? This is by Joseph H. The one that works for you. That is really the answer, right? Because when I see a question like that, I feel like the person that's asking the question, and though I'm not directing this like at you, but people that think like that aiming systems, like there's a magic bullet. Like the moment you start mastering this aiming system, like you're going to become pro. And I mean that's just not the way it works. I mean it really isn't. Systems, whether it's an aiming system, whether it's a kicking system, a banking system, or whatever, systems that do exist in this game, they are meant to give you references. That's all it is. It's a reference. It's a starting point. It's something to get you going to where you're not having to absolutely guess at what you're doing. And when you have these starting points and you have these references, you go and put in the many hours of practice, and then things start to become more natural after that. And that's when you start hearing the term, oh, when people say I play by feel, well, that's what they mean. Is because they think that they're not using any system when in fact that they are. They just have already graduated to where they don't have to consistently rely on the system, go through the steps of the systems of, if you're using Ghost Ball, visualizing where the ghost ball is, or putting your stick down where you think the ghost ball is going to be, and then trying to aim at that spot. Like, or if you're doing a bank shot and you start laying your cue on the table at certain angles and do parallel shifting and all this other kind of stuff. Anybody that says they play by feel, they've already passed all that stuff to where they just don't bother measuring everything because they put in the many hours of practice. Right? So what's the absolute best aiming method? If you want me to give you a concrete answer, it's going to be Ghost Ball, because no matter what aiming system is out there, they all lead to Ghost Ball. The only difference between these other aiming systems is they basically try to say, well, you don't want to have to aim at an imaginary spot on the table, right? You want to be able to aim objectively. So there would be whether it's CTE, whether it's 90-90. I think there's like there's a shadow aiming system where you have to use the lights have to be done a certain way to where it casts a certain shadow on the ball. There's fractional aiming. There's all kinds of different things that you can use, and if you study them long enough, you'll get them to work. But the absolute end result of every single solitary aiming system is to put the cue ball where the ghost ball is at, and then you're guaranteed to make the shot. So how do you get the cue ball to be at the ghost ball position? That's going to be up to you in regards to what aiming system do you want to practice to try to master zeroing in on the ghost ball. There is no magic bullet. It's all going to be just practice. I'm primarily a ghost ball aimer, and then I also use a little bit of fractional aiming to help verify my aim, which means I'm using the inside edge of the cue ball. I do plan on making a video about that. Yes, Touch of Inside is another aiming system. I believe that's done by, I think that's CJ Wiley that teaches that. Because they basically show you how to use the spins of the spinning the cue ball, either left spin or right spin. But Touch of Inside is always putting inside spin on the cue ball, so that way you can gear the object ball towards the pocket and try to reduce any amount of frictional throw that you can have on a particular shot, depending upon the thickness or the thinness of the hit. But nothing is ever going to top practice, right? So you have all these systems out here that people have taught. I have taught a couple of systems. Other people have taught other types of systems. So you have a plethora of information. It's a matter of whoever you go decide to watch, do they explain it well enough for you to understand, so that way you can try to implement it onto the table, and therefore practice. Because no matter what knowledge you have of something, if you don't practice it, the knowledge is going to be useless. A-Funk, you're wanting to know how much do I practice safety play before tournaments or in general? I don't directly practice safety shots. Like I just don't get on the table and just try to just play safeties. Here's my answer to that, though. I practice safeties all the time when I shoot. What do I mean by that? Well, you didn't see me do a single solitary safety here, right? During this whole entire live stream. I think I only played, 2 sets? And I didn't play a single solitary safety. But what I was doing is playing position from one ball to the next, right? So what's a safety, though? A safety is where you play the object ball without making it and then putting the cue ball in a particular position, right? You're still having to play some type of position. But there's different types of safeties, right? I think there's 3 types of safeties. There's a safety where you have to be aware of where the cue ball is going. Then there's a safety where you have to be aware of where the object ball is going. Then there's the safety where you have to be aware where both balls are going, right? Because sometimes if you play, like, for example, let me give you an example of what I mean by that. When you're playing a game of 9-ball, and this is the safety that you want to play. So in this example here, if I'm not comfortable making that 2-ball, this is a safety where all I'm concerned about is where that 2-ball goes, because I'm not going to allow the cue ball to go anywhere. So the safety that I'm looking to play is just a stop shot, and I need to make sure that the 2-ball gets over here, and ideally this is where the cue ball is supposed to be, right? That's an occasion to where the only thing that I'm really worried about is where does the object ball go. Then there's the safety of where the cue ball goes, and that's going to probably look something like this. Not saying that I'm going to be able to execute these perfectly all the time, but just to demonstrate the idea, because I am looking for like simple examples. But when you think about it, if this is your shot, then now all you're really concerned about is where is the cue ball going, because you want to be able to hit this so thin to where the ball doesn't even move, but you want the cue ball to move out of the way. And my only concern is getting something like this. Of course, I'd rather be like down here or whatever. But then that's basically an example of only having to worry about where the cue ball goes. And then the third example would be trying to control both, which is actually kind of hard to do. Being aware of where multiple balls are going to move, just like when I played that combination shot, that 3-6 combination. Like, I'm going to make the 6-ball, and I have to be aware of where the 3-ball is going to go, so that way I know that I can try to play position on the 3-ball and continue my run, just like how I did. I think that was on rack, I think it was rack 8, I think. It was on one of the racks where I scored an 8, or where I played that 3-6 combination, and then made sure that I got position on the 3-ball to go along with it. So I hope that answers your question, A-Funk. Like I said, it's just I don't like directly / actively practice safety plays, but every time I'm playing pool, in my mind, I'm automatically practicing safety plays because I'm always trying to make sure that the cue ball lands where I want it to go. So if the goal is to play a shot and get position on the next ball, to me that's just no different than not playing a shot and putting the cue ball in a particular position depending upon the type of scenario that I'm actually looking for. Am I trying to just control the cue ball? Am I trying to control the object ball? Or am I trying to control both? That's the best way that I know how to answer that. Let's see. WTF jerky. What about a safety where you pocket the object ball? Would that fall under controlling the cue ball? Yes, I would say so because that's more of a BCA or I think you can do it in VNEA. I'm just not all too familiar with VNEA rules. But in 8-ball, you can call a safety and make a ball because you're basically just surrendering your turn. So if I were to give you an 8-ball example, that would look something like this. And this is something that pops up on more than one occasion. So for whatever reason, you're just not comfortable trying to run this out, and you have ball in hand too. But for whatever reason, this 3-ball is scaring you down here, and you're sitting here looking at something like this. So you can do this. You can call a safety, make this 5-ball, and leave your opponent hooked behind the 2-ball because now your opponent has to shoot. And so now, hopefully, if you get ball in hand in a situation like this, now that you only have 2 of your object balls left to worry about, you might be a little bit more comfortable. This would be the example of just controlling the cue ball because you know you're going to make the object ball, especially if you're at least starting with ball in hand. But yeah, I've done safeties like that a lot, to where I can still hopefully try to control the table. Not in a simple scenario like that. I just gave you a simple scenario just to demonstrate what I'm talking about. In a scenario like that, if I had ball in hand, I'm going to try to run the table. But there have been more complex scenarios that I've been in before where I would use a strategy like that. WTF Jerky, are you an APA player? Since you're asking about BCA? Because they're practically the same thing with just some minor differences in the rules. The biggest difference being is that BCA is call ball, call pocket, where in APA it's you don't the only ball that you have to call is the 8-ball when you're on it. In BCA you cannot lose or win off of the break. Where in APA you can win off the break by making the 8-ball on the break, or you can lose on the break by making the 8-ball and scratching. In BCA, it doesn't matter. If you make the 8-ball on the break, the breaker has the opportunity to spot the 8-ball and continue to shoot, or I think they can re-break again. But I think if you make the 8-ball and scratch, then the incoming player has the option to spot the 8-ball and shoot, or the incoming player, I think, has the option to break. I might be wrong on that part there. And then in BCA, it's always an open table after the break. Even if you make a ball, it doesn't matter. Whereas in APA, if you only drop a solid, then whoever broke is a solid, and if you only dropped a stripe, then you dropped a stripe. If you drop at least both a solid and a stripe, then the table is open. So you're not familiar with any of the acronyms, so you haven't joined any leagues at all. Well, so APA is more for your amateurs. That's why it stands for Amateur Pool Player Association. And then BCA stands for Billiard Congress of America. And I think there's BCAPL, which is like a subdivision, which is Billiard Congress of America Pool League. Then there's like USAPL. I think that also falls under the BCA umbrella. But typically, that is where you find your, above average APA players would be in a BCA league, because now they've graduated to where they don't want to rely on slop shots or anything. I still play in both. I play in both the APA and I play in BCA. Hence why I'm playing in the BCA state tournaments or state events that's happening this week. Ooh, A-Funk, you've tried some 3-cushion billiards? That is a fun game. That is a very, very fun game. I wish we actually had some 3-cushion tables in my local area here. I would have to drive almost an hour to get to the closest 3-cushion table. That is a lot of fun. It really teaches you how to move that cue ball around. So WTF Jerky says you usually play in a bar pool, to be honest, but we always call our shots. 8-ball break can win, so it sounds like APA. No, not if you're calling your shots. In APA, you don't call your shots. The 8-ball on the break being win is one thing. But let me ask you this, because I had a really good conversation in one of my old live streams that I'm thinking about clipping, because they basically detest the idea that APA allows slop shots, like that it should be call shots. So when you say call shots, like, are you talking about you say this ball is going to go into this pocket? Like, you call 8-ball side, or you call this the 2-ball into the side pocket. If you miss the side pocket and it goes like 2 or 3 rails and then still goes into the side pocket that you called, is that a good shot? Do you still continue to shoot? Or were you supposed to call all the rails that the ball went before it fell into your designated pocket? Which rule do you play by? Because when you tell me call shot, I'm thinking you have to call all the rails before the ball falls into the pocket. Otherwise, you're playing call ball, call pocket. Because call ball, call pocket, it doesn't matter how the ball gets there, as long as it gets into the designated pocket that you're calling. So if you're one of the players, like in BCA, for example, BCA is call ball, call pocket. So therefore, if you call a ball into a corner pocket and you miss the corner pocket and it banks, like it bobbles, banks over to the side rail and comes back and falls into the pocket, you still get to shoot. But when people are complaining about how APA allows you to do slop, well, by definition, if you get a ball to fall that way, isn't that slop? So it's like you're okay when slop happens under that condition, but you're not okay when slop happens under this condition. I was like, that just doesn't seem fair. Like you're not staying logically consistent in your argument. And if you don't like slop, but you like to play 9-ball, and there's all kinds of slop in 9-ball, so it's like, which is it? Okay, so call all the rails. So you're playing call shot, which is good. I mean, like I said, I don't like to value one rule over the other. The rules are in place for specific reasons. People like to play by different rules. People that play under harder conditions like the harder conditions. Some people don't like the harder conditions. Fine. So they play under easier conditions. I don't want to consider one better than the other. But in a sport like this, where we're always wanting to encourage more and more people to join the sport, we need to make sure, in my opinion, that we have these conditions in place where people are comfortable with playing. That's all that really matters, right? To me, it's disheartening when I want to hear people like, well, the people that play APA or play slops or whatever, they don't belong in the sport. I'm like, what? It's like, are you kidding me? You want more people to get involved in this game. You just hopefully don't want people to stay where they're at. Like, we want people to grow and get better at this game. So it's like you don't want people to always rely on slop shots or anything like that. You want them to get to a point to where they're getting better at calling their shots, and they're getting better at making shots that they intend to make. Like that's the purpose. But if you're trying to tell me that we can grow this sport by playing the game in its hardest conditions, and people see us playing this game in this hardest condition, and they're like, there's no way in the world I can be able to do that. Well, that's gonna turn people away. And that, to me, that's just not the way to grow this sport. We got to have a level where someone who is an absolute beginner can come in comfortably, get familiar with the game, get familiar with the mechanics, and then slowly but surely start to give themselves different conditions that make the game just a little bit harder. Because there's always going to be that recreational player that goes and plays in their tournaments or whatnot, or they want to be the best player in their area. They don't want to be a professional, right? Because if they're going to be a professional, then they're always going to play in the hardest conditions possible. And when it comes to that, notice that the professionals don't even play at that level. They don't play call your shot. The the Whirlpool Masters right now, they're playing 9-ball. If a ball goes in sloppily, that professional is still playing. Right? So if you're going to criticize people that are at the lower end of the skill level for playing slop, why aren't we criticizing professionals that are supposed to play at the highest level of pool, where everything that they do should be skillful and not luck? Luck exists everywhere in the spectrum. So I mean, it's part of the game. If you don't want someone to get lucky on you, don't let them to the table. Right? You shouldn't be missing that allows someone to get to the table and get lucky on you, because in the grand scheme of things, that's your fault, regardless of how you look at it. That's my rant. about that. So you like to play WTF Jerky. You like to play call shots, and that's fantastic. Sometimes I like to play call shots. There's been tournaments I used to play in many years ago where you had to call it down to that nitpick. And I remember calling shots on guys. This is also long before I was as good as I am now. But even back then, I was still calling like really, really goofy shots. I would say like the cue ball is going to hit this ball. That ball is going to carom off this ball. Then it's going to carom off this ball. It's going to catch this rail, carom off this ball, and go into a pocket. Like I would literally call shots like that. Sometimes it would happen and sometimes it wouldn't happen. But when it does happen and I called everything that happened, of course, my opponent's jaw just drops like, how did you see that? Right. But at the same time, I would argue it's kind of ridiculous that I have to go to that measure for a bar tournament. Right. This is not a professional event or whatever, just to show you that I know what I'm talking about. Kind of thing. But stuff like that exists. And back in the day, I used to have the attitude to where it's like, yeah, this is the way it should be. But then as I've gotten older and I've gotten more mature, it's like, wait a minute. We got to make sure that we level the playing field. If you want to play under hard conditions, go play under hard conditions. Fine. But don't chastise anybody else that wants to play under easier conditions than you want to play under. Because we're all here to play. We're all here to learn. We're all here to have fun. Well, there you go, Alex Johnson. You're saying flukes and master snooker counts too, right? So why doesn't anybody chastise any of them for whenever they get lucky? They just go, "Oh, he fluked it." But what do they always do? They put their hand up in apology, some sort of apologetic gesture, saying, "I know that I got lucky, but it's still my turn." Right? To me, that's like showing signs of respect, and stuff like that exists in a lot of different sports. When an athlete knows they got lucky at doing something, they usually will make some type of gesture to say, hey, sorry for getting lucky, but it's still my turn. Whew. That topic got me excited. Oh, I absolutely agree with you, WTF Jerky. When you call something super complex and it happens just the way that you want it, oh, that's like a great feeling. That's why when I'm trying to explain to y'all about the break and I'm trying to tell you where all 9 balls are going to be after the break, right? If it doesn't happen, it's just like, I don't. It looks like I don't know what I'm talking about. But then when it does happen, it's just like, hey, see what I mean? Like I do know what I'm talking about. Like that's an amazing feeling to have. Whew. All right. Well, you know what? Like I said, I don't want to make the tail end segment of this live stream with just me just blabbing on about stuff. Though I would love to just continue to talk to everybody about this. I'm gonna go ahead and call it for the afternoon. Relax for a little bit, and then hopefully get some dinner before I go to BCA League. So I'm hoping that during this week I'll be able to have some type of footage at the BCA State event. I don't know what I'm going to be able to get. I'm definitely going to have pictures, that's for sure. I just don't know how much video footage I can get. Oh, certainly, WTF Jerky. I wasn't suggesting that you chastise people, but I know lots of people do. If a player doesn't play to their level, it's like, well, you're below me. I'm like, okay, good for you. I mean, you're a better player. I mean, great. Guess what? There's people that are higher above you that play at a much more difficulty level than you play. So the never ending chain of chastising can continue on because you're not the number one player in the world. So I mean, who cares? But I certainly wasn't suggesting that you chastise people. I just know that stuff exists out there, and this is usually how I counter the arguments when people want to say that kind of stuff. It's just like, hey, just do whatever it is that you want to do, and don't worry about somebody else. But I will be back. Because like the teams event happens over the weekends, and usually weekends is when I try to create more YouTube content. So I probably won't be able to get anything done this weekend unless, of course, the team gets eliminated fairly early. Then we'll see what my next video will be able to produce. I might be able to produce like a short video here and there, or I can still go through like my old live streams and create clips off of like questions, like what happened here, like that whole rant I just went on about luck shots versus called shots. I might turn that into a clip, but we'll see. But the show must go on. And the show's going to be different from here on out. It'll be a little bit more structured. There's going to be more stuff added in that hopefully everybody will be able to enjoy, and then go from there. All I can say is thank you for everybody that is being here. I see that I currently have 45 people still in here, but I think I did top out somewhere between like 90 some odd people. So everybody that came to the live stream, thank you so much for being here. Everybody that has stuck around to the end, this absolute end, thank you so much. You guys and gals are the main reason why I do all this stuff. You guys get to see how I shoot under real conditions, because it's real simple for me to make myself look so fantastic and perfect by giving you YouTube content where I'm never making a mistake. But when you watch any of my APA matches or when you watch me play live, you get to see that I'm a human being just like everybody else. I make mistakes, I overshoot shots, I undercut, overcut, whatever, stuff happens. But you also get to see that I practice what I preach. Things that I teach, you get to see me do on the table, and you get to see why I do these things. Doesn't mean that I'm right. It's just a matter of me saying, this is what works for me. I can teach it in such a way that hopefully it works for you. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. That's one of the main reasons why I like to do all this stuff. And I get to meet a lot of new people, make a whole lot of new friends, and it's just a lot of fun. As I said before, I'm here to help people grow in this game. If you're a better player than me, then clearly my information doesn't apply to you. It's for anybody that doesn't feel like they play as good as me, and hopefully my information that I give to them brings them up to the next level. So if I want to measure this on an APA skill level, if you're an APA 3 and my information makes you become an APA 4, fantastic, I've done my job. If you're an APA 5 and my information has made you an APA 6, fantastic, I've done my job. That's what I'm here to do. So, with all that being said, I'm going to tune off for the day. I'll say one last time, thank you all for being here. So, obviously, if this didn't make you smile or anything else like this, I don't know what else to say other than to give this stream a thumbs up for what I was able to accomplish. For everybody that's been following along with me on this journey, if you're not subscribed to this channel, please consider subscribing, and then make sure that you click the bell icon to be notified anytime that I go live or whenever I publish a new video. And so until next time, everybody, take care.